Good day, everybody. Welcome. My name is Bhante Sujato. It's a great honour for me to be here and to be invited to speak to you all today. Just wait for a couple of people to settle in. And I know you're starting your retreat today, is that right? Yes. Okay, very good. And I've been asked to say a few words on the topic of the stream enterer. Does anybody here know what a stream enterer is? When I say stream enterer, do you know what I'm talking about? No. Good. Good, that's excellent. So now I know. Hardest thing in a teacher is when everybody knows. Oh my goodness. No one knows, I'm easy. Start from the beginning. Okay. So, when we speak of a stream enterer, Sotāpanna, we are speaking of one of the kinds of people who has realized a stage of enlightenment. Okay? Now, first stage of enlightenment. Alright? So, first of all, I think everybody understands that when I'm speaking from the Theravada point of view. So, I don't know how this compares to the Mahayana point of view. You can explain that later on, okay? Fine, easy. Okay, so behind me, you recognize this gentleman behind me. Yes? He's the Buddha. Yes, you know him? Yes. Right? Very inspiring, right? Yeah? Very beautiful. So why is the Buddha so powerful? Why is the idea of the Buddha so meaningful to us? Because the word Buddha means woken up. Yeah? It means awake, it means enlightened. And so the Buddha is the one who has that wisdom that can see the truth. But not just to see the truth in any old way. Okay? There are many ways of seeing the truth. A mathematician sees the truth. A scientist sees the truth. Many people can see the truth. But the Buddha saw a special kind of truth. And he saw that kind of truth that leads to freedom. Freedom. Yeah? Freedom. Freedom from suffering. Freedom from pain. Freedom from being trapped. Freedom from delusion. Freedom from anger. Oh my goodness. You know what it's like being angry? It's terrible. It's terrible. It's like you get trapped in this horrible place inside your own mind and you can't get out of it. Oh my goodness. Freedom from greed. Greed also. Greed is more subtle. Greed we think we like. Feels nice. But also traps our mind. Yeah? So the Buddha was free from all of these things. And this is why we say that he attained Nibbana, or Bodhi, or awakening. Okay, so we know that, and we know that as people following the Buddha's path, that we are walking that path towards freedom and enlightenment. Now, one of the things that the Buddha did was that he explained what he called a gradual path. That it goes step by step, a little bit by little bit. This is very good news, because it means we don't have to do everything all at once. We can do just what's in front of us. That's all we can do. For you, what that means is coming here on retreat. And regardless of what happens to you on retreat, in your meditation, in your chanting, all of you will have different experiences in this retreat. But all of you will take one step closer to Nibbana, one step closer to awakening. Maybe you don't even believe me. Maybe you think, awakening, Nibbana, this is too high for me to think about. Maybe that's okay. You don't have to believe me. It works anyway. As long as you're here, and as long as you take that step, then you're coming closer to Dhamma. Now, how do we know that? How do we know that we're coming closer to Nibbana? Well, the Buddha broke enlightenment down and taught 4 stages. Okay? So, when we're practicing, we will experience these different stages of different realizations along the path to Nibbana. And there are 4 of these stages: stream entry, once return, non-return, and arahant. Okay? And so I'm not going to explain all of them today, but we'll just talk about the first one, stream entry. So a stream enterer is somebody who's practicing the Buddha's path, practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi. 8 factors. Not 7, not 6, not maybe I can leave this one out. Not maybe I put another one in. 8. No more, no less. 8 factors. Right view, right intention, right speech, right effort, right mindfulness. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi. 8 things. Now when you're practicing those 8 things, something very strange happens. And that strange thing is really the most wonderful thing that there is in this world. And the most wonderful thing that is not some magic, it's not some fireworks, not some miracle. What happens is that the suffering in your mind becomes less. You start to let go of your attachments. All of those things that you are holding you in suffering, these things start to settle down with you. Maybe you don't get angry quite as often as you used to. Or if you do get angry, you quickly realize it and then you can stop. So this transformation of the mind is the most amazing thing that can happen in the world. Because this, and only this, is what leads to freedom. Not external freedom, freedom inside. Now, how does this work? How does this work? Think about it. Think about it. Think about what life is. What samsara is. We have been reborn countless times. Millions of times. Billions of times. We have been human beings. We have been cockroaches. We have been kangaroos. We have been kookaburras. We have been fish. We have been all of these things, and devas and gods and all the different realms. So many times. And all of that time, we've been acting out of greed, hate, and delusion. How is it possible that anything can be strong enough to break that hold that greed, hate, and delusion have over us for so many billions of lifetimes? How is that possible? It's possible because of the Eightfold Path. The Eightfold Path is the only thing that's more powerful than these defilements. The Buddha's teaching is the only thing that can help us to overcome these things. And so we practice that Eightfold Path, and like a miracle, we find, before there was anger, and now there is love. Before there was greed, and now there is kindness and generosity. Before there was confusion, and now there is clarity in wisdom. And this is the gift from practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, at a certain point, when we have right view, Four Noble Truths, we have right intention, an intention of kindness, of love, of letting go. We have right speech, to speak truthfully, to speak meaningfully, to speak gently and kindly, to speak clearly and at the right time. We have right action, to live our lives not by hurting and harming others, but only to live for the flourishing and abundance of all. We have our right livelihood, to not have a job and a way of making a living that is based on cruelty and exploitation and harm. But instead, we make our livelihood in a way that genuinely helps to make the world a better place. Right mindfulness. This is what we're coming here for this retreat to practice. We're sitting here, we're listening attentively, pay attention to the feelings in your body, pay attention to what's going on around you, we do our meditation, we do our chanting. All of this will support us to develop the right effort, the right mindfulness. Even the fact that you have come here is your right effort. Now, you could have stayed at home. Easy. But instead you came here. This is your right effort, right mindfulness, and then right samadhi, the state of purity of mind that comes from the practice of meditation. Now when you have all of these factors, all 8, then another very strange thing happens. Because each of these things is working to overcome different kinds of defilement and different kinds of problem in mind. But a lot of that you can't really see. No? But at a certain point, that path comes together. It's like it all clicks into place. Now, the Buddha actually, then I mentioned before that the 4 stages of enlightenment. The first one, stream entry, but the Buddha also subdivided that into 2 parts. The first part is the path. So this is what happens when all of those factors are there. When you have all 8 of those factors are there and they're all mature and they're all practicing and going well, then this is said to have entered the path to stream entry. And at this point, one who has entered the path to stream entry hasn't yet quite seen the Dhamma. Not quite. They know the Dhamma, they understand it conceptually, they have faith in it. Yeah. But they haven't yet seen it for themselves. But they will. They will see it. All of the causes and conditions are there already. Yeah? It's like a gardener. They've prepared the soil, they've planted the seeds, they've watered them, they've watched the plant grow, and it's just a matter of time until the fruit comes on the plant. And so this is one who is practicing for stream entry, one who has entered the path of practice for stream entry. And somebody who realizes stream entry, then that comes with a clear and direct vision of the 4 Noble Truths. Suffering, origin of suffering, craving, the ending of suffering, letting go, and the path of practice that leads to the ending of suffering. It's the Noble Eightfold Path. So when somebody sees that, the Buddha said, it is like the flash of lightning on a dark night. We are wandering. Think of what the Buddha said, I've wandered for countless rebirths in samsara, seeking but not finding. And this is where we have been for such a long time, wandering in the darkness. And then suddenly there's a flash of light. And we see. And from then on, everything changes. Everything changes. Because you no longer have faith. The stream enterer has no need for faith. Because they see for themselves. One time, one of the Buddha's disciples, Chitta the householder, was speaking with a teacher from one of the non-Buddhist sects. And he said, do you have faith in the Reverend Gautama, in the Buddha? Do you have faith in what he says? And he answered him, no, I don't have any faith in what he says. And this teacher was so delighted. He said, you see, even his own followers don't have faith in what the Buddha said. And she said, yes, I don't have faith in what the Buddha said because I've seen it for myself. I don't need the Buddha to tell me what he thought because I've also seen that. This is the realization of the noble truth, Yatha Buddha Jnanadasana, the knowledge and vision that are called to the way things are. And this is what happens with somebody who realizes stream entry. Now, at that moment, with that vision, certain of the defilements that have kept us trapped in samsara, certain of those will disappear forever. So the Buddha analyzed 10 fetters or chains, they're called samyojana. And the first 3 of these chains, first 3 of these fetters are identity view, doubt, and attachment or misapprehension of precepts and practices. I'll talk a minute about what each one of these means. So the first one is identity view. It's like Hayadipti. And what that means is taking something to be myself, taking my body as myself, my feelings, my perceptions, my thoughts, my awareness, my consciousness, taking that to be myself. So this is a major part of the Buddha's teachings. The Buddha said that we tend to construct and form an idea of what we think is ourself, and we take that thing to be permanent and everlasting. And we believe that ourself will bring us happiness. But what the Buddha said was, actually, those things you're taking as yourself are all conditioned. Your feelings, is your happy feeling yourself, or your happy feeling is conditioned? Is your idea of yourself, is that what yourself is? But that's also conditioned. Is your awareness? Maybe you experience some kind of beautiful, pure state in your meditation, and you say, oh, this is my true self, my true nature. But this also is conditioned. It's impermanent, it won't last. So we always tend to attach to something as ourself, and that first fetter is now gone. Now we no longer believe that anything is ourself. Instead, we understand that everything rises and falls according to conditions. So no need to attach to it. The second thing that stream enterers got rid of is doubt. Now, in this case, doubt does not mean like when I was driving here with Yahoo, it doesn't mean, was it this driveway or the next driveway to come to the temple? Because we couldn't see the driveway. Okay, that's not what doubt means, okay? Even a stream enterer, even Arahant can have that kind of doubt. But what it means is doubt as to the truth, doubt as to the Dhamma, doubt as to freedom. And why have they got rid of doubt? Again, because they've seen it for themselves. So if you were driving to this temple, and you've never been to this temple before, how do you get here? Well, you look up on your GPS, and it brings you here. Is GPS always right? Pretty good, most of the time, not always 100%, but it's good enough. So this is like the teachings, right? It's like the Buddha's teachings. You know, everything in the Buddha's teachings is good, but you know, sometimes things maybe we don't understand. Sometimes something is unclear, right? But it still is good enough to get us to the destination. But do we know? We think we know because the map says so. But do we really know? No, we do not. We only know when we've come here. Then we have no need for doubt. Oh yes, this is where it is. We have no need for faith. Somebody tells us, oh, that's where that temple is. Okay. Doesn't change anything because we know for ourselves where it is. So this is the doubt. And finally, the last point is the Sotāpanna, so it's the misapplication of precepts and practices. Now what this means, the two words here, sila is the precepts that we undertake, the ethical conduct that we undertake. Vata is the vows. And so vata can be anything like, say, a vow to come to the monastery for a few days, or it might be to take a vow of silence, might be to take a vow of being a vegetarian, or anything like that. So any kind of practice that you undertake as part of the practice. Now, what this feta means, it doesn't mean that you don't have these things. Of course not. Of course you still have these things, but you don't misunderstand them. You don't misapprehend them. The precepts that we take, the vows that we take, are there to support our practice. But in and of themselves, that doesn't mean that we're pure. Right? Some people think they can take a vow, and just because of that, then they're pure. Actually, they just get full of pride. Right? So the vow is there to support us, that's it. But it's not an end in and of itself. So what this Sotāpanna means, really, is to don't mistake the external forms of religious practice. External forms of religious practice, coming to a temple, bowing to the Buddha, doing the rituals, doing the ceremonies, putting on the robes. All of these things are there to support our practice. But that doesn't mean that you're pure. See, look at everybody here today. You're all sitting there looking so wonderful, so peaceful. Everyone looks so pure-hearted. But you're not, are you? Well, some of you probably are. Some of you maybe not. We're all just people, and we have greed and hate and delusion, and we can't just put on something externally and then think somehow we're purified. This is what this Sotāpanna is. And again, why does a stream mentor understand this? Because they've seen what actually achieves that purity. And what actually achieves that purity is the Noble Eightfold Path. So these are the three fetters that a stream mentor lets go of. Attachment, Sakkaya Ditthi or identity view, doubt, and attachment, misapprehension of precepts and practices. Those three things. And in addition, a stream mentor will realize a number of things. They realize the Four Noble Truths. And they will see dependent origination. And they will see the truth of the Dhamma. And from that moment onwards, because this level of defilements have been overcome, then from that moment onwards, a stream mentor will naturally incline more and more to the Dhamma. So a stream mentor is not completely purified. They still have hatred, they can get angry at things, they can have more subtle kinds of defilements and emotional issues. But generally speaking, their mind now inclines towards the Dhamma. And they will progress along the path naturally. They won't be so interested in worldly things. They might get distracted a bit. You know, a stream mentor might get distracted a bit by worldly things, but they never go too far away from the path, and they will never do anything to break their precepts or do anything that would harm anybody. And so they will naturally flow over to the Dhamma. And the Buddha said it's possible that a stream mentor, even if a stream mentor is very lazy, and they stop meditating. Even if you say, oh, I'm a stream mentor now, I don't need to meditate. Okay? You shouldn't think like that. But if you do, then the Buddha said, even then, you will still get enlightenment in no more than 7 lifetimes. And you will never go to hell or any of the lower realms. Okay? But remember, right, the Buddha actually didn't say this. And he never taught this until Sariputta one day pushed him and asked him about this. And then he said it. And he said, I was reluctant to talk about this because I knew it would make people lazy. But he said it's true. So, but don't let that make you lazy. Now, one of the things that I notice sometimes today is that people will say, oh, being a stream mentor is good because you already see the Dhamma, your precepts are good, you will get enlightened soon, cannot go to hell, cannot go to a bad destiny, good enough. Okay? It's pretty good, right? No doubting, right? But then people have this attitude saying, well, what's the minimum I can do to become a stream mentor? Right? They have this attitude like what can I get away with, right? Like a school kid who wants to get past an exam, and they think, well, you know, how little can I study? I want to pass the exam, I want to get away with studying as little as possible, but still pass the exam. This is how some people think. But of course, this is a very worldly way of thinking. Yeah? It's a very worldly way. When the Buddha taught, he didn't teach like this. When the Buddha taught, he said, let go. Don't think about what you need to hold on to. Just let go. And the more that we can let go of, the more wisdom that we can have, and the more freedom that we can have. Becoming a stream mentor is just a marker along that road. That's all. From here to Nibbana, that's all. It's just a point along that road. And so what we should be looking for is how can we let go of our greed, our hate, our delusion. That's the main thing we need to be learning. And then we can recognize that we see what a stream mentor are. So some people these days ask, is it still possible to be a stream mentor? And the answer to that is yes. Of course it's possible. This is like asking a physicist whether gravity still works on Tuesdays. Of course it does. It's the law of the universe. It works everywhere, all the time. To become enlightened comes from practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. That's all there is to it. So if you practice the Noble Eightfold Path, you will get enlightened. Don't worry, it's not me saying that. It's the Buddha's guarantee. You will get enlightened. Just have to be patient. Remember what I said earlier about how long samsara is, and how deeply it conditions all of those defilements. So don't expect that it will just change in an instant. The Dhamma is very, very powerful. Yeah? But if you want to help, the Buddha did teach a shortcut. Do you want to know the shortcut? Yes? you want to know the shortcut? The shortcut, I don't know, should I say this? Okay, the shortcut is the Noble Eightfold Path. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right mindfulness, right effort, right mindfulness, right samadhi. That's the shortcut. That's the shortest path there is. Why would the Buddha teach anything else? Right? Why would the Buddha teach a long path when there's a short path? Yeah? That is the shortcut. That's why he taught it. Yeah? The Ujjimagga, the direct road. Yeah? So now that you've all come together for this retreat, you have a time to practice here. You have a beautiful place to practice, a lovely hall. You have, look at the sky, the weather, beautiful, warm and clear days. You have such a wonderful, warm and supportive Sangha here supporting you. You have no excuses. None. And when you come to retreat, I know when I started meditating, and I was starting the retreat, I remember one time I was doing a retreat in Thailand. Oh my goodness. I was in a forest monastery, way in the middle of the forest, living in a cave on the edge of the Mekong River. And from where my cave I was in, I could look over the Mekong River, over Laos, and they said that on a clear day you can see Vietnam from there. I don't know if that's true or not, but this is what they told me. It was near down in Wallacia, down in the south of Thailand. Anyway, maybe true, maybe not, I don't know. But I was there meditating, walking meditation, sitting meditation all day. And then one day I realized, I looked into my mind, and I looked at what I was thinking, and I realized that my thoughts were still, I was blaming in my thoughts. I was blaming everybody for why I couldn't be peaceful. In my mind, I was going, oh, so-and-so did this, and so-and-so did that, and so-and-so did this, and that. I'm thinking, what? Here I am. I could not imagine anywhere better to be meditating. And I'm looking around at why everybody else is stopping me from getting enlightened. So don't make the same mistake that I did. You're the one. You're the one who got in this problem in the first place. You're the one who got reborn. Don't blame anybody else for that. You're the one that created that suffering. And you're the one who can get yourself out of it. Now we can help and support each other, yes. And that's done. With the help and support that we can do for each other, through the Sangha, through the community, here we are. All of that is there now. It's up to you. So just remember as you go through this journey, that you will take those steps forward, no doubt. But those steps will be different for every person here. So remember that. Don't judge others. Don't come to the retreat and say, oh, this person's falling asleep. This person's snoring at night. This person's eating too much. Okay? No. You look into your own mind. Look into your own practice. Yeah? You look to others to help them. Yes, to help others. Yes. But not to judge and criticize. Look into your own mind. You're the one. Create your own suffering. And you're the one who created your own freedom. Not your husband. Not the government. Not anyone else. You. So this is the promise of the Buddha made. We can find that freedom. And the Buddha said some very extraordinary things about a stream maker. One time, he said, see those trees out there? He said, if those trees could understand what is well spoken and what is not well spoken, then I would say those trees are stream makers. The thing that you don't understand about this, the thing you don't understand about Nibbana, about enlightenment, about the Dhamma, is that it is just there. Right now. in this room with us. It is just there. The truth is here. Delusion is also here. Ignorance is here. Suffering is here. But the truth of the Buddha taught is right here. And at any moment, if you're mindful and awake, you can realize that truth. So that's probably enough talk for today. For me anyway. But then we will have to translate, so I won't talk too much. You want to give a summary? Okay, go on.
Thank you so much, Bhante Sujato. Thank you very much for your work.
Dear Bhante, we would like to very appreciate your presence here with the meaning with Dhamma talk. And we hope in the future we will hear in the Tibetan Monatery. There is someone. I wish there's one, at least one. Go to the yeah. And everybody try to go to that and will release the timetable. Yeah, there is the so we very appreciate your presence here. In the future, we could talk journey to one time. Yeah. If you will look at the past chapter, very nice to yeah. Okay, thank you.